So, I started watching that old Yu-Gi-Oh cartoon. I was partially inspired to do so by a friend's fond remembrance of it. Um, Shortly before that, I finally got around to watching Full Metal Alchemist, and that show gave me a bit of surprise when I realized that the big golem dude had the voice of a child. And in like the years during which that show just existed on my periphery, I never really thought about that. And I don't know, I wasn't expecting anything particular, but I just didn't uh, get the idea of that juvenile voice in my head, before I started watching the show. So, the thing about Yu Gi Oh! That surprised me in the vocal realm uh, was the fact that a dude who's ostensibly a Japanese teenager sounds more like a stereotypical New York dude in his 30s. There's one other thing that gave me a bit of a moment of amusement. Uh, Maybe it shouldn't have, but I didn't realize uh, the amount of focus the show would place on the actual gaming, right? Like, I knew that it was a show about a card game, with uh, mythical overtones. There was some magic behind it. There was the main character like had a split spirit. He shared space with uh, the dude of whom he was reincarnation, like ancient Egyptian pharaonic stuff. Yeah, that was a big part of the attraction to me. Um, but wow, dude, like they so all right. Here's the thing: Pokemon is a show about a dude who goes around and gets in Pokemon battles, right? But that's not usually the entirety of the episode, you know? Like, maybe there'll be, a Pokemon battle or two in an episode, and the rest will be about adventure, you know? There's, the, there's a bit of effort into, making the balance of it work. Um, and I was expecting something like that. Uh, but there have been a lot of episodes that are predominantly based around a game of uh, Duel Monsters or some other sport. There's one with dice. I don't know. At least in the early bits, they digress into other games sometimes. Um, but yeah, in any case, there'll be a match that can last for an entire episode. It I'm only in the second season right now, but there have been a lot of like games that have single games that have lasted across multiple episodes, and the majority of each episode is the game with a bunch of spectation and commentary by everyone else who isn't involved in that particular match. And yeah, I mean, there's a bit of that mythic stuff, which is my favorite, element. They're going into the history of the thing, and oh man, in ancient Egyptian times, they used this game to settle uh, like national warfare or whatever between two ridiculous magical emperors, stuff like that, and that is my jam. And so I'm loving that stuff. But I thought that that stuff would uh, effuse forth faster, you know. But they're that right now at least. That's the secondary plot um, behind all of these matches, and the matches contribute to the plot too. I mean, honestly, there's nothing I don't like. It's a delightful show, very stylish. Uh, But yeah, I just like the balance really shocked me. I wasn't expecting um, that uh, like preponderance of uh, like gaming battles. But like whatever, it's I'm happy to watch it, and I will say this, um, yeah, I think part of it might just be because it's like a show that's based on a manga, and a lot of those like are being produced as the manga is still in development, and like because of production schedules, the show gets too far ahead and then has to fill time. So maybe that's a part of it, because that was the issue with like Dragon Ball Z, right? That's why Goku was like channeling his spirit bomb for 3 months. You know, it was a bit like that. But so I'm getting a bit of that feel from it. But I mean, right now it honestly feels like more egregious than that. But I can't really tell. I didn't watch the I haven't like watched the original Dragon Ball Z dub since like middle school at the latest. Like they like after everything was done, they like made another version that didn't have to worry about overtaking the manga because the manga was done. They could just distill it. And I watched that a few years ago. Like when did the last maybe the last season only came out like within the last year or two, and so I finished that up and it was good. It was tight, They got everything in. So I don't know. Maybe that's a part of it. I don't really know. I don't know if they'll ever like make a distilled version of this. Like it feels as though it could happen, but I don't know. Like I mean, maybe it's because this series is like recent enough. Like when was Dragon Ball Z first made in like the original Japanese language, like the cartoon? Like early 90s, something like that. And like we didn't get it till like late 90s or whatever, but still. Whereas I think that you know what, I don't know. I don't know when I feel that like Yu-Gi-Oh would have been dubbed around the turn of the century, but like the Japanese version could have been made far earlier. I don't know. I'm really rambling on now, but that's basically what I'm here to do. And I will say this. For my personal taste, I do prefer the hair of the protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh over that of Goku. There's less like angular or horizontal deviation and more color. And for some reason that's often what I focus on. So and I don't know, the dude, I mean, Goku's naturally like he has a fairly elegant like design naturally, but I personally just can't deal with that amount of orange. Like he's got some good outfits, but he defaults to that orange gi, and that's just not a color that really works for me. Whereas Yugi's already had like a bunch of very stylish outfits. Like I to me, it feels as though the dude who like works on the character designs actually has like a fair eye for fashion. And because like I mean he gives Yugi like alternate outfits sometimes, whereas like Goku's best looks are like in his transformations, like all the different hair colors. And I'm not like the biggest GT fan, but those Super Saiyan 4 designs are exquisite. Although in that particular case, I think that Vegeta's version wins because his version has leather pants for some reason. He just magically acquires leather pants when he transforms into his ape-man incarnation. And magic is generally the best way to acquire a slick pair of pants anyway. So, whatever, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Very stylish, delightful. I am in for it.